The Deep Six. 6 stories from your world in 30 minutes or less. Hosted by Patty Steele and Steve Cochran. The Deep Six is on.
Welcome to the Deep Six. I'm Steve Cochran. You can hear me mornings if you choose to on the Big 890 WLS 890 in Chicago. Where do you work?
I would choose to listen to you if I lived in Chicago, but I am Patty Steele. I live in New York City and I work on CBS FM. I do the morning show there with a guy named Scott Shannon.
Yep. And it's not just radio, it's the podcasting thing we love, which is why we do this. The Deep Six, 2 great friends, 6 great topics, 30, 45 minutes. Will it kill you to hear the whole thing? No, because we make it entertaining. And we have to start, as we normally do with entertainment, but topic number 1 being entertainment. I have to ask you if the world's upside down because I saw Brad Pitt in a skirt. What the hell is going on?
You know what? I'm very comfortable with him in a skirt. I've seen Pete Davidson in a skirt. I've seen, there are so many. Harry Styles. Oh my God. He wears women's clothes all the time. And yet he's very male and very sexy. And I guess there's that whole question of, does he have to be male? I don't know. We're getting into sort of a deeper area there. But did you not like Brad Pitt in a skirt?
Well, I didn't like it because he pulled it off. So I'm just bitter.
What do you mean pulled it off?
It was pulled it off. I would have called you. No, he pulled it off. He made it look like he belonged in a skirt. You know, he actually had it happening. I know when I slip into a sundress, I look like Mrs. Doubtfire's younger sister. So it's not a great look for me, but it works for Brad Pitt. But here's why I say the world's upside down, because you have a story with another fashion trend of sorts, but it's about personal hygiene and choices, right?
Yes, it is. It's really about, everybody's talking about, embrace the nip, show the nip. Now they're talking about embrace the hair. Vogue has this whole cover story because the woman on the cover of the latest Vogue sort of raises her arms up. It's Emma Corrin from The Crown, and she has her arms raised up, and you see that she's very fluffy and furry. So Vogue decided to do like a look at that, and they're saying that it's a very popular thing now. It started, like 25 years ago with Julia Roberts. She showed up at the Notting Hill premiere in this beautiful sparkling red gown and waved to the crowd and had these flowing locks coming out from under her arms. And it was like a shock to our collective psyche. Everybody was like, that's all they could talk about. The headlines, fuzzy about feminism, fur flies when Julia greets the crowd, pity woman. And then in England, they said they wanted people to call in on the furry phone line. Well, now they're saying 25% of women under the age of 25 have stopped shaving their armpits. And also people over 25, including Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, Drew Barrymore, Madonna's daughter, who's under 25, all proudly furry. What do you think of it? Does it attractive to you?
Yeah, it didn't work for me. And here's why. I didn't make the rules. And the rules have always been such that it's harder for your team, and I respect that, but that your team has always shaved your pits. And to me, I think it's an important distinction to keep between the two of us because my team smells bad enough.
So you think we'll smell worse if we don't shave the pits?
Yeah, it's not going to help. Yeah, it's not going to help.
A lot of people say you live more authentically, that it's a more, what they call a lived-in look. But I don't know. Does that mean you don't shave your legs, etc.? I don't know. Where does that go?
Well, the shaving your legs thing, right? It's seasonal. And it depends on if it's the third date or not. And where
I got to admit, love the winter because of boots.
I can't imagine. I don't like shaving my face, and that's all I have to do. But so I can't imagine. So, maybe it's a double standard, maybe it's not. But I'm just telling you, you asked on the surface, not a fan of women making the choice not to shave the pits.
Okay. All right.
All right. And then also, maybe I'm cranky. I'm not a fan of Brad Pitt's skirt either. Maybe I need to get some fresh air.
Oh my God. You've got to get with it. You've got to embrace what's new these days. Are you a fan of exposing the nip? No.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
That you're over there. There you go. So you got 1 out of 3.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right. So when we hear about this is still in the entertainment category. When we hear about celebrity gambling, it's usually athletes blowing a whole bunch of money. But you got a story I had no idea about. And this is a musician who apparently loves to gamble too much.
Yeah. Drake, he is a superstar rapper. And in my mind, apparently has made more money than he possibly can know what to do with. They say he loves to spend his free time gambling. Insiders say he is one of the most in-demand gamblers in Vegas, what they call a celebrity whale, which means that like you walk into a casino and they go, there's Drake. They spiff him $100,000 in chips the minute he walks in.
Just to get the night started.
Yeah, gets the night started. It draws other people, and they know that he's going to sit there. They say that sometimes in Vegas, he will bet 200 grand on one roulette spin. Like, I feel like crap if I spend $10 on a roulette spin and I lose. Then again, when I win, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go for it.
Sure, right, and you're going to leverage it in even more.
But they said that a couple of weeks ago he bet $1 million on a UFC fight, and he made a fairly safe bet. So he walked away with an extra $250,000. He bets on sports a lot because he loves sports. He bet on the basketball conference finals, like 160 grand, walked away with 800,000. And here's the weird thing. They say he has dropped $20 million playing roulette on Twitch, but he has a sponsor. So I don't know, when you have a sponsor and you do that, does that mean that they pay your gambling?
Yeah. Well, in the Twitch case, they're probably covering him, but the amount of gambling he's seen doing publicly, that's got to be some of his own money. And at the amount of money that he's spending, I'm going to go way out on a limb here and say, Drake and I need to have a talk. He may have a problem.
He may have a problem. Yeah, it seems less like a hobby, more like either a career or a major problem.
Yeah, I mean, the rush of winning is great. And that's why so many athletes do the gambling thing, right? Because it's competitive on some level.
Right.
Mentally, but you can get hooked really fast.
Well, and the big problem is...
You better hope you got another hit album coming.
Right. Most people also only talk about what they win. They never tell you what they lose. Yeah. And that's the biggest problem, because guess what? House always wins.
Yeah, it's kind of set up that way. That's why the hotel's so nice. I have one more for you in the entertainment category for our first topic. I love Lisa Kudrow. I love Friends. I still think Friends is one of the best written sitcoms of all time.
And she was such a wonderful element on that show.
And she's a great talk show guest. And she was on with Seth Meyers just the other day. And they were talking about Friends, and she told a great story. She said she was a little disturbed by her son's reaction to Phoebe, saying it felt demeaning. Kudrow, talking to Seth Meyers, said Julian Murray Stern, that's her son, surprised about how funny the show is. He was impressed. He said, that's actually really funny. But she said he seemed to be more bowled over by everybody else on the show but her. He said, it's actually really funny. I mean, the guys are so funny. And he's like, no, I mean, yeah, you're funny too, Mom. And she said, never in my life have I wanted to tell my own kid, hey, F you.
How old is he? It sounds to me like he's in his early 20s.
Yeah, I think late teens, early 20s. I think that's about right.
Yeah. So that's when they're like looking at you like, man, you did not get it right.
Yeah. So happy Mother's Day, Lisa Kudrow.
Right.
Now, look, I've heard her talk about her kids, and when I've done a few interviews with her, she's a great mom. So don't get the wrong idea, because if you want a story about actual bad parenting, let's go to our second topic. This would be the Elon Musk topic.
The Deep Six, number 2.
We've been hearing in the last few weeks about his dad, Elon Musk, who just had a second baby with his own stepdaughter, whom he'd raised since she was 4 years old.
That move is called the Woody Allen.
Yeah. And he said he may have more kids because that's the only reason we're all on this planet, is to have as many children as possible. He does say that she doesn't live with him anymore, and that when she comes back, which he likes when she comes back, but she brings the kids, and he gets really irritated with them very rapidly, and then they leave, and then he misses them. Well, now he's saying that he's been asked to donate his genetics to some South American women. He's 76 years old. He said his sperm is coveted by a company in Colombia, South America.
Yeah, of course it is.
Because it contains the same seeds of genius that made Elon the world's richest man. This is what he told the Sun in the UK. He says, I've got a company who wants me to donate sperm to impregnate high-class women. Really? Does he get to choose the women? They offered me first-class travel and 5-star hotel accommodations and all that sort of stuff. He said they told him, why go to Elon when you can go to the actual person who created Elon?
Yeah, and I think anything you don't like about Elon Musk, I think we just found the reason.
I could not believe that.
Yeah, what a dope. What a dope.
Elon is not commenting on this because he and his dad haven't spoken in several years. So
yeah, understandably so.
Yeah.
And honestly, I blame your team on this, because if there wasn't,
thank you. Of course you do.
If there wasn't at least one woman out there who said, no, that's okay, it works for me, I can change him, that guy should be shunned. He should not be around anyone.
Well, it's kind of the same. It's funny because Elon now has 9 kids, and everybody talks about how he and Nick Cannon have been chatting via social media, because Nick Cannon is either going to have his 9th or 10th child this year, because he's got 2 women who are pregnant, one singularly pregnant, the other possibly with twins. And so the 2 of them are going back and forth, and they're saying, and a lot of people do say, why would these women want to have a baby with a guy who has all these other baby
and no interest in being a real part of your life?
Well, they did. I mean, like Nick Cannon does as much as he possibly can.
No, I'm telling you, but we all
part
have
of his kids' lives, but they don't live with them.
No, we all have the same 24 hours a day.
That actually might be pleasant, though. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, it depends on who you're having the kids with, I suppose. Hey, Nick, let's have another baby so you're not here quite as much. I don't think it works that way. Listen, I just want everybody to be happy. You know that. All right, so let's move off bad parenting. Let's go to topic number 3.
The Deep Six.
Care about Shark Week when it comes up every year?
Oh, yeah. I love Shark Week.
Are you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's really fascinating because it's the ultimate ambulance chasing kind of thing, where you're just looking at all these predators that are coming. I mean, listen, here in New York, we have had the summer from hell with the sharks off the coast of Long Island, just biting people on the ass, biting them on the feet. But, nobody's been killed, thank God, because they tend to be shallow water, which means that they're smaller sharks, but they're taking chomps.
Do you know where the #1 shark attack beach is in America?
In America? No, where?
New Smyrna Beach, Florida.
Really?
And the reason I know that is we have friends that spend a little time there, and we spent a week or so with them a couple of years ago. And fortunately for me, I'm not a strong swimmer, so I kind of stay out of the ocean. But walking along the beach, if I had 10 people go, this is where all the sharks attack. And statistically, I've seen it brought up again and again. But
now, are these like scary, like I'm going to kill you sharks, or I just want to taste?
I hear the music when I'm on the beach. Do, 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 do.
Oh, so these are like great white types.
Yeah. And Richard Dreyfuss comes along and somebody says you're going to need a bigger boat. It all happens right there in New Smyrna Beach. But you're going to find problems with this statement, I think. This comes from Grid and Grid News. Recent spate of these shark sightings and attacks on Long Island have really scared people, which you well know. Mm-hmm. But a shark expert says, stop freaking out about the shark attacks and sightings. If they wanted to eat you, they would. And there's only 70 shark attacks a year on average.
Okay, we've had 7 in the last couple of weeks. And sorry, I kind of feel like they want to eat you. It's just that these people have been able to get away from them, and they're not that big. These are like sand sharks. And so they're maybe only anywhere from 4 to 8 feet long. They're not the big giant ones. But truthfully, if they're biting me on the ass, they're a shark, or they're, the people have been bitten on the feet, on the arms, the hands, you know what? I think they're trying to eat me, and I don't want to be eaten. I don't like that.
Well, and I would also say, even though it's only 70 shark attacks, if you're not one of the 70, I don't think you get to judge the 70 that actually got bit.
That's right.
Gavin
it's never a problem unless it's you.
Right. Gavin Naylor is the program director at the Florida Program for Shark Research. I have a friend here in Chicago who was on TV forever, named Anna DeVlantis, a reporter.
Mhm.
And she did a swimming with the sharks thing at the Shedd Aquarium here, which is one of the world's great aquariums.
Oh, that's an incredible aquarium.
And learned a lot about sharks. And she claims the same thing. And I said, I'll miss you. And then I didn't get in the water.
The Deep Six, number 4.
We go from sharks eating people and human food to food that we might eat. But first, let's talk about your puppies. You're a dog person. I'm a dog person. When it comes to dogs, we spend an unbelievable amount of money. Statistically proven, we spend more money now on pets than we ever have, ever.
Well, here's the new thing. A new study says that if you have picky eaters at home, it is just as likely that it's your pooch as it is your kids. They say 70% of parents say their dog is as picky, if not pickier, than their children. And this is where the human food comes back in. They say easily half struggle to get their dogs to eat, admitting they often add human food goodies to the bowl to encourage them. And they say that more than a quarter of dog owners have as many as 10 bags of unused dog food around the house from failed attempts at finding something they'll eat. This happens to me all the time. What I do is I go on like either chewy.com or Petco or whatever, and I stopped ordering, and I have 2 fairly large golden doodles. The problem is they take one bite and they look at you like, nah, and they walk away. And so I stopped buying the 25-pound bags and I started buying the smallest bag possible. And I would buy 4 or 5 at a time so that if they didn't eat it, I wouldn't have so many leftovers.
Sure. Now, I will tell you this. I have a good veterinarian friend, one of the best in the country, who says that your dog is not you. Your dog doesn't have access to, grab the keys, hop in the car and go to the store.
Right.
And your dog comes from its native instincts. And its native instincts are when it's hungry,
it will eat.
It's going to eat. Now, I said, don't leave the food sitting out because you can bring in pests and other things in that way. But leave the food out for a reasonable amount of time, then take it away and throw it away.
This is what my dog trainer says. He says 15, 20 minutes tops. Pick the bowl up, walk away with it. Don't offer him anything else.
Right.
But then here's the problem.
Yeah, he comes up with that golden doodle face and looks
Puppy
at you.
eyes.
Yeah, sure.
Puppy eyes, which they have proven evolved over the years. Because if you look at like wolves and wild dogs, they don't do puppy eyes. They don't have the same muscles in their face that look at you and go, oh, mama, it doesn't taste good to me. Do you have any chicken? And I go, oh, you want some chicken? I'll cook you some chicken. And I cut it up and I mix it up with the dog food because the dry dog food is healthier for them.
Sure.
Healthy, and I'll mix it up. And then they will sit there and with their beautiful little teeth, they will pick out all the chicken and swallow it and leave the dry food behind.
Yeah, and the more people food you hand out, the less likely they are to eat the dry food because look, the dogs are smart, some of them, but they certainly know if there's a chance of getting the good stuff.
Yeah,
I eat the crap.
Yeah, no crap for me. I'm a dog.
Yeah. Now let's move back to people food for a second. I am not a mustard fan.
Really? Are you one of those people that have a fear of mustard? Because some people do.
Afraid of mustard? What's that about?
Yeah, oh God, you haven't heard of that?
No, I didn't know.
There are people who are literally afraid of mustard and who are afraid of mayonnaise. I don't know if they're the same people. Yes, it's a condiment issue.
Really?
Yes, but
so like a condiment phobia.
Yeah, so people who are frightened of mustard should never go to France because France is the #1 place on the planet for mustard, and they're dealing with a real problem right now. A disappearance of the kind of mustard they like. Much like dogs. I don't like that dog food. I need the lamb dog food. Bring back the lamb dog. These people are absolutely freaked out about the fact that they are not getting the really great Dijon mustard, which is what they use on everything. One guy said he went to 25 shops and found nothing but the crappy stuff, which he would not eat. And nobody seems to know why there is this shortage there right now. It's probably that dreaded, horrible supply chain thing that they talk about. But yeah.
That is bad for the world. And those of you who love mustard, I thought while you were telling folks that story, I could do the smart thing, do a quick search and find what the phobia is called, the fear of mustard.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't have to do the search. It's called mustardophobia.
Mustardophobia. Hello, I have mustardophobia. Oh my God. I do have medication for that.
That is the actual name, mustardophobia. And
well, then you'll be happy to know that
a fear of pickles, I don't know how to make this up, is called pickle phobia.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I want something a little more unusual out there. Look for something like that. I will tell you, if you go to France right now, you can only buy 1 jar of mustard at a time because they're limiting it.
Wow, that's a big deal in France.
Apparently.
Yeah.
The Deep Six. Number 5.
Most of you probably by now have heard there's going to be a gigantic NASCAR race in downtown Chicago in the summer of 23. Now, it's a NASCAR race.
Now, have they ever done anything like this anywhere before? Because I've never heard of it.
Nope. We've had the same problem you've had in New York, which is you had the 4-wheelers that were being confiscated and destroyed on Staten Island.
Well, yeah, 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and everything, and they're like running over them with the big earth movers and stuff to crush them.
Yeah, here they're calling it drifting, where they get an intersection going, where they're doing.
No, I've heard that.
Yeah. So we have had that, but not a downtown street race. Look, there's no place like New York when it comes to trying to get across town, because you know my theory on this.
Yeah.
There's one moving truck that parks on every street just to piss you off.
Just to piss you, at least one.
Yeah.
You can walk faster across town in New York midday than you can drive.
Absolutely. Chicago has a similar problem, but just based on size, not as bad. However, this is going to go up legendary Lakeshore Drive, which is now called DeSable Lakeshore Drive, a historic change. And then
why is it called that?
DeSable is an homage to a historic figure here.
Oh, okay.
And also there is another street called Columbus, where the marathon starts.
Okay.
Where it'll come back down. And essentially Grant Park, which is kind of the central part of the park area, the green space in the city.
Sure. Right.
And that's where Lollapalooza happens.
Yes.
Grant Park is kind of going to be the infield for this.
Ah.
And based on living here for going on 30 years, I would guess it's going to be a little bit of a different NASCAR race, because I'm assuming they could get top speeds of up to 9 miles an hour.
Woohoo!
So
this is not like Formula One where they're flying through the streets of Monaco.
Right. But they are going to be going up Lakeshore Drive right there with the lake on the right or the left, depending on which way you're going. Soldier Field, Millennium Park, it's all there. It's going to look really cool. And it's happening next summer in Chicago. There's not a chance you could do this in Manhattan. There's just no way.
No, they couldn't. I mean, when are they going to pick a day when everybody's on vacation in Chicago, or how are they going to?
It looks like it'll be a Saturday, Sunday sort of thing, but it will be a traffic nightmare like you wouldn't believe, because you and I both know this. There's going to be one family that planned their big trip to the city.
Right.
And they're going to get 2 miles out, and they're going to go, "Oh my God, what's with the traffic, Bob?
Oh my God, get back in the Jeep."
Now, I have a bonus car item here for you.
Yeah.
And this is something I was unaware of.
Yeah.
I have had vehicles that have had heated seats and air-conditioned seats.
Well, here's the thing. If you're like us and you live in the northern areas, air-conditioned seats, I don't really like a cold butt, so I don't really care about that. But I need a hot butt in the wintertime. I get up, I'm out of the house by 4:15 in the morning.
You realize the voices in my head are screaming right now as you throw these setup lines at me?
I want my ass red hot on the way to work. I want it to be so hot that when I park my car on the streets of New York and I have to walk a couple blocks in 15-degree weather, sure. I want my ass to like have steam coming off of it before I get to work.
Well, we all have dreams.
So yes, heated seats are not a luxury for me. They are a necessity given where I work and when I work.
Well, if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a BMW, I would think you would just buy the heated seat accessory.
Yeah.
Out of the package, right?
Yeah, sure. It comes with it. Especially a BMW. What? Are you kidding?
Well, it turns out it's not standard. And it turns out you can get heated seats as a subscription add-on
A subscription.
A subscription ad. I don't even entirely
Like
understand
subscribing to the Wall Street Journal, but for your ass.
Yeah, I don't understand entirely how this works, but apparently they can turn off the heat to your butt or turn it back on at a moment's notice.
That kind of sounds sexy to me a little.
What a feeling of control back at BMW headquarters.
Okay, I'm going to heat your butt right now.
Monthly fees for front seat heating costs about $15 a month in South Africa, $17 in Germany, and almost $20 in the UK and $30 in New Zealand.
$30?
Yeah, a month. And you can buy
Oh my Lord.
You can buy it for a 1 month or 3 month trial, for a year, for 3 years. Just pay for the freaking heated seats. Why would you subscribe?
But here's the thing. If you're buying a BMW, are there BMWs that don't come with that standard in the car?
Apparently. Yeah.
I guess there will be.
Yeah, apparently so.
Just get ready. Pretty soon, it's going to be, you're going to subscribe in order to have a steering wheel.
Well, you know what it is? It's the Spirit Airlines model. Like Spirit Airlines will fly you anywhere for $4, but everything else is an add-on.
Right.
Like, you want to go to Tokyo? It's $4. Oh, you want to sit? There's an extra $500.
You want to breathe in the plane?
Yeah. So we're keeping an eye on all of it. Now, before we leave you, that was, of course, topic number 5. Before we leave you, topic number 6.
The Deep Six. Number 6.
This is fascinating to me. We all love true crime. This is one of the greatest detective work ever in a story that just broke in the past few days.
Yes. Cops in China say they were trying to crack a burglary case. They cracked it with 2 mosquitoes. They say authorities in Fuzhou, I don't know if I said that right, spotted 2 squashed mosquitoes on the wall of an apartment that had been robbed. They tested the blood and found a DNA match for a man with a criminal record identified by the last name Chai. When confronted with the evidence, Mr. Chai confessed to the burglary and then went on to confess to other burglaries in the area.
That is incredible. That is the coolest detective story maybe I've ever heard.
Like, who would even notice mosquitoes squashed on the wall? You have to be like the most incredible detective.
That guy, that detective,
or that woman,
that woman, that team, whatever they may be. They need a TV series tomorrow. Netflix is losing subscribers. There's your home run. Put Chinese mosquito detectives on. Write the script tonight. Get it on tomorrow.
The police said the apartment walls had recently been painted by the owners, making the squashed mosquitoes easy to spot. So they were like, oh, well, they were like not taking credit for it. They were saying it was newly painted. So we saw them very
amazing.
It's amazing. I just think that's such a cool story.
Yeah, I feel like
TV show.
I feel like we need to track these guys down for our respective radio shows. Yours on WCBS FM in New York, and mine on 890 WLS in Chicago. And of course, you listen here for 2 friends, 6 topics, 30, 45 minutes. And as far as I know, we're the only place that absolutely gives you red hot heated asses and mosquito detectives. Huh?
On top of it, don't you love us?
If you don't, you should.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Cochran.
No, go away.
Yeah, if you don't, thanks, whatever. I'm Steve Cochran, and you are?
I am Patty Steele.
And this is The Deep Six.
Thanks for listening. The Deep Six. Subscribe, rate, follow, or review at pattysteele.com or cochranshow.com.